So at the end of the day, we're talking about resilience, and we're talking about resilience in so many different areas. And part of the conversation that Marty was having was that we need disruptors. We need pushers. We need people who are going to say, you know what, I have this idea. It sounds crazy, but I know it's going to work. And no matter how many no's you get, or how many, oh, that's not going to work, or why would you want to do that? Where are you going to make money on that? There's all these sort of negativity biases that people have, and that's just the default brain. Like that's automatic. Like it's not surprising that we have a 10-to-1 ratio of negativity bias. That's the brain's way of keeping safe.
And
But when you are safe, you can't build resilience. You just
no,
can't,
no,
right? A little bit about that, Marty.
those no's, that negativity is, we need to be embracing them. We want to
Mm,
avoid them. We don't want to hear about it because it diminishes our spirit to the point that we just want to shut down and not think
give
about what
up.
to do. On the contrary, those no's, think of it, I kind of think of it as this way. It's a threat what you're presenting to these people because they don't know how to, they're
That's
not
right.
used to it. They don't know how to face it. So automatically it's too confusing for them to figure it out because they know a whole lot better and they're more determined that what they know is the go. But that's how society has formed us all.
Mm,
We don't have that creative ideas anymore
mm.
because whatever we think of and we mention it to whoever doesn't seem to be the right person to ask, then all of a sudden, oh no, you crazy, how can you even think of that? That's
Right.
you, no, you lose your money. And so all those negatives, but they can't answer why you'll lose your money. They can't answer why you can't do it. So you need to address it yourself. Well,
Mm,
why is it that I would lose money if I could go a different way? If I can start being creative in the paths that I need to take to address that goal, to complete it, to make it results.
mm.
I think most kids have wonderful ideas.
Yes.
However, school is
Mm.
structured where
Oh, you said it. Preach, girl.
you have to be able to spit out all the
Yes,
memorization of all the
that's right.
information they give you. But when it
That's
comes down to the reality, and this from an A student that passed and aced all these
well,
tests
look at you.
in all these countries or whatever, when I got out of school, it's like I have no clue what to do
Wow.
because it was like a programmation of you're
Yes.
gonna take the test, you pass, ooh, that's
Yes.
what that's what you were shooting for. You weren't shooting to
To
apply
learn. Yes,
knowledge.
that's
The
right.
same thing goes for faith. You
Mhm.
can learn all the Bible verses in the book, memorize them, sound beautiful, say
Yes. Get degrees.
yes, but when you don't see the
Mm,
application of that beauty, then that's why people doubt. That's why people are negative. That's why people already dismiss anything that's different from their world around them because there's so much negativity. On the contrary, be the positive one. Stir those questions. Question yourself. Question
mhm.
your reaction, your emotion, your knowledge, your experience. And if it's and this is what tempers our character. This is what tempers our soul. Because when you're resisting or people are resisting on you, you want to be determined. You get motivated. And then all of a sudden, when you cross the threshold and you find what you were looking for, my gosh. Then you see the people's reactions. They said, "Oh, she's not gonna make it." Oh, I'm crazy, and
Well,
they're like, and now all of a sudden they're following. So
right.
I address both parties here. The people with the creative ideas,
Yes,
keep doing them,
right.
keep trying them, keep testing them. There is something in you that God put in each and every one of us
Mhm.
to corroborate with the world to make this world better. The problem is, most of us have shut that little spark of fire in us
Right.
and said, I don't think we can. And
Yeah.
it's not always true, but
Well, it's you said so many things that I want to pull apart, but one of the things you said was that school programs you, and I never saw it that way until it's like you get the answer, you're smart, or you got an A. Oh my goodness, you're the amazing. But you're told what to do. You're not invited to be curious. You're not invited to to debunk a status quo, or you're not debunking history. Because when you are curious and ask questions, you seem like the troublemaker in school. Why are you asking that question? We already
Well,
have the curriculum. We already
yes,
have the syllabus. Okay, so
rock the
why do
boat.
we have this way? So again, school, and I've heard this from a lot of other people. And at the same time, we need systems and structure, right? In order to begin to have that plan, not just come up with a plan, but have it to map it out into execution and to get results, right? So there's both and, right? So when we live in the end, we're like, okay, don't throw out school altogether. School, you gotta go to school. But in the middle of school, you come up with your own ideas. You create something. You disrupt the norm of how people traditionally create businesses, make income, or or even create a lifestyle that they love. It's part of being un, being authentic, and it's part of having autonomy in the world. I mean, every person know that a teenager just bucks against their parents because they're like, no, 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 I don't want to do it your way. I want to do it my way. And the parents are like, no, 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 you have to do it my way. And so there's this, and this is culture as opposed to, regular career. I said, our young people today will not work in the traditional way that you and I may have worked, that our parents might work. They are going to work so differently. And hooray to them
Well,
that they're going to have a gig economy. They're going to have maybe four different things going on, and that's okay. They're not going to be in a job with a pension. Forget it. That's not even there anymore. Or staying at a job for 40 years. They're not going to be behind a desk. You know why? Because they're debunking that traditional way. And why not?
they see that is just like a vicious cycle that repeats itself generation
That's
after
right.
generation. They see the decay of the people that end up retiring and they can't even move, or
That's
yes,
right.
they have all the money. What good is that money if they haven't enjoyed life, if they
Amen.
haven't lived fully?
Amen.
Another thing that I think a major reason, and I used to think about this now that we're talking about education, why kids would drop out of school. For me,
Mm,
school was my rescue. It's like, I'm going to school. Why? Because I was getting acknowledgement that I
that's
even
right.
had brains. Okay.
Yes.
However, they were limited in the practicality of it. It didn't matter. I was getting recognized where I wasn't getting it at home. So I
Mm,
think kids drop out of school when they might have those crazy ideas.
yes.
They might be way ahead of the norm
That's
of
right.
caliber of creation in that classroom. So they're going to go find another way, another outlet to be an entrepreneur, to develop their ideas. And you read about these kids now, and I think this is cool. This is very cool. A kid that started a service for elderly people to just go help them with groceries, that get them to go outside, whatever chore that the people couldn't do on their own. That kid is now an entrepreneur, and
Yes.
super young. Another one with a lemonade stand, and he's
That's
now,
right.
whatever, a cookie factory. It doesn't matter. When you do the things that are not the norm,
Mm,
and something stirs that curiosity in other
yes.
people, all of a sudden it's like, this is innovation. This is cool. And innovation is that simple. When that is what innovation is jumping out of that pool of, this is how we do, and going against the tide with your
So
great
hard.
idea. And now you're getting the flotation devices that you need, because you're surfing,
Yes.
but you're becoming resilient, you're
Yeah,
becoming
you're
becoming
becoming
strong,
stronger. You're
and you're
becoming
growing
stronger.
in knowledge because you've already seen what your market is and how they act. And now you'll be able to address the pain points. Now you'll be able to offer them a service with whatever it is that you have. So I invite everybody that has that type of thought coming through their head to come join us on LinkedIn, because we
Yes.
are disruptive rebels. And,
That's
and,
right.
and it's just amazing how many resources that we can apply all this knowledge to and make the world better. Maybe we won't see it in my lifetime,
Right.
but I know the seeds will be planted for that knowledge of growth to bloom and blossom and thrive in families and virtues, values, and faith.
And you said that, and I'm thinking, I know a couple people personally who I know who had that drive and that motivation and that resilience, and they kept getting knocked down. They kept by by the world, by them, by their limiting beliefs, because we have to talk about that too, because
Yes.
your beliefs can actually stop you. Not even anything on the outside. You thinking, am I crazy? What I have to use, is it even gonna use? Tend to doubt. So those individuals who do have these creative ideas, they are resilient, they are disruptors, but their mindset, their limiting beliefs sort of create barriers and blocks and obstacle. How do you encourage that person to keep on going, even though?
And that's the difference between being able to self-discover.
Mhm.
Self-discover your triggers, self-discover what it is that makes you feel comfortable, what it is that makes you feel daring and bold. And if you don't feel daring and bold, then you are in that comfort zone. You are not expanding that. So when people say, "Oh yeah, no, that idea doesn't work," it's because of your surroundings are telling you no,
Yes.
and they're also triggering your limiting beliefs because you are
Yes.
doubting, even though you should question, why is that idea in my head?
Hmm.
It didn't come out of nowhere. There's got to be a reason for it. So investigate the reason why you're thinking this.
Hmm.
And in that investigation, that's when you become creative. That's when you start expanding your horizon to a different comfort zone and saying, okay, I'm going to investigate this, I'm going to research. And then all of a sudden, and this is for me what is happening as we speak, people are coming at me instead of me going,
And then make
I'm all
something
by
happen.
myself.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
all
yeah,
by myself and
yeah.
I can't do this. And that's why I don't do what I do. But
Right.
but no, and that it's developing that perseverance,
Mhm.
that fortitude
Yeah.
of your goal, of your plan, and of your action, and then you'll start creating things that you won't even imagine in your head is possible. And
Mm.
once you get a little taste of that, you're going to start going crazy because you, in a good way, because you're going to start expanding on that one idea, and it's not just a product anymore. It's
Right.
a source of knowledge. And
Hmm.
the more we
And it's a community.
that's it, the more we feed to the community, you form a better surrounding, and you
Right.
form a better nation, and you form a better world. Each and every one of us can contribute to changing it.
And you said something that was so key. You kept saying, investigate your thoughts. You said something about self-discovery. And I feel like, if unless you are self-aware, that's the first step, right? And unless you do some discovery, sort of self-discovery, and then investigating your why or your methods or whatever, not in a negative way, but in a way to learn and grow, it becomes this whole idea of, I'm just doing, but I'm never reflecting. I'm never rediscovering, okay, that didn't work. So then what next? Those sort of like self-aware questions, and then reiterating it with some another thought partner. I mean, I really feel that we can't work well in a vacuum, that we need
Um,
community and collaboration to expand and to do the things that will hit a global change. You cannot do things independently and create global change. You
no,
can't.
that used to be the old way, that the people
That's the old way.
that made it on their own, they were scraped, they were bruised, they were battered. They
That's
got
right.
to the top, but they're still by themselves and very
Yes,
threatened by the fact that they achieved all this on their own.
that's
So
right.
now they're overprotective and they're
Yes.
expanding their idea to a bigger global type of thing. So it in that thing about people being negative around you, those negatives are the more reasons why people succeed, because if you study the history of all
Yes.
the people that have been
Yes.
successful in business, they went through hell.
They did.
They
They
didn't
did.
get a, oh, that sounds cool, let's go, let's
Right,
do
right.
no.
It's never what it seems like. And I think,
In the
when we, and that's why it's so dangerous to look at a Marty Smith now with 7 books and all these different things and say, wow, she has no idea. She has no idea what it means to get hit down, what it means to get no. She has no idea, because here she is on stardom, right? And she's flying high. But you have to study the person's path to that place. And even if it was, quote, smooth, which is never is, I've never read anybody's biography that was smooth, who actually created something. It's the person who you are becoming. It's never the outcome. It's the person that Marty Smith became along the path to where she is today. And I'm sure she will be evolving after this.
Oh,
I'm sure.
every day we need to evolve because even though you might have a wonderful idea and everything might be going smoothly, all of a sudden you hit
All of
that,
a sudden,
yeah, all of a sudden you hit that wall and you're like,
yeah.
oh,
What
no,
now? What
no,
now?
don't panic. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Don't
Yes.
panic and say, okay, not this way. Which way?
Which way?
And that's something that you have to practice.
Develop.
You have
You
to
have to
trigger,
develop.
you have to
Yes.
trigger that reaction because
Yeah.
otherwise you're like, ah,
I know.
I'm
Well,
done.
that happened to me this week. And I was like, it was such bad news. And I'm like, this is horrible. I mean, my mind just it happened in a nanosecond. I mean, it was so quick. I'm like, and then I realized, wait a minute, I have other options. This is not the only thing. And so I started to do some research. But my point is I do this work. I coach people on this, and it happened to me. You know why? Because I have a primitive brain. My brain will always try to keep me safe. It doesn't mean I have to listen to it. It
Right.
doesn't mean I have to feed it. It doesn't mean that I have to say, "Oh, I know, it's so hard." It's
No,
so hard.
you can feed it. You can feed it. And this is where it helps to feed that resilience because you're like, see, you did make it through there, even though you thought that you were
Yes.
never gonna advance. And
Yeah.
that's the self-inventory that
That's it.
avoids the auto sabotage. Because
Yes.
don't take that self-inventory,
Ooh.
you're already joining the forces with those people saying, oh no, see, they were
Yeah.
right.
I
And
mean,
then
it went to a doom and gloom, and I'm sure that people listening to me know that. We all have a primitive brain, the brain that wants to keep us safe, but it doesn't that's all its job is. And so you have to begin to realize that it's automatic, but it doesn't have to be automatic, right? You don't have to stay in the stuck. You have options. You can create your own reality. You have the capacity, and there are so many other ways to do something.
right. And you listen to your heart.
Mm.
And then your brain is like, oh, the brain starts going like, well,
Yes, yes,
because why your body is reacting in a calmer session.
yes.
Everything seems a lot more clearer and everything. But granted, you have to do a lot of work to get to this
You
point
do. Practice, a
because
lot of
if you
practice.
come in there with all that stuff that you lived for some 60 years and you try to go, uh-uh. It's almost frightening. It's
It is.
frightening to
It is.
face it if you don't have the tools
That's right.
that are being used to narrow down that
Mm.
self-doubt, that
Right.
question. And doubt should be more like questioning, not
Mm. I
you
like that.
you can't do it because no, you look
Mm.
at all the stuff you've already tried. And that narrative that we constantly say, no, I'm not going
Right.
down that road again. No, maybe you're not going down that road again,
But you
but
can take a different road.
there's a
There's
nice
another road.
road that you can probably look at and see what it is that
Yes.
obstacle that's blocking you. So it it's becoming aware of your surroundings, looking at the bigger picture,
Mm.
not all about you,
Mm.
not all about the people saying no. It's more like, is this idea worth pursuing? Is this
Mm.
idea going to help me and other people? And if you focus the other people before you help
I
me,
like that.
you are also not saying, well, I got to make money it's all
Right.
about, no, no, because I, when I wrote this book, it's like, okay, I want to help people, my
That's
legacy.
right. That's
Right?
right.
That was my label to the
Yes.
success of written the book. And I was like, so I'll sell and it'll be a residual income. And I'm not going to worry about how much or a number or anything. The next thing I knew, I was more focused on how can I expand my mission?
Mm. How can I expand my mission? I love it.
how can I deliver a clearer message to a global audience? I
Yeah.
started writing more and I started seeing the common denominator out of all of it is like you're teaching people the difference between being miserable or
Mm.
thriving. And
Nice.
so if I have that in teaching people, then
Yes.
all I got to do is use my clearer message and
Yeah.
say, okay, how am I going to do that? Am I going to write a book? Am I going to develop a course? Am I going
Yes.
to teach and corroborate with other people? Am I going to
Right.
do a project that involves all this process?
Mm.
That's what's happening with me now. And that's why I say you can never dismiss your abilities
Hmm.
because of what you've lived in your lifetime. You have to believe in
Hmm.
the impossibilities of what you think you can't do, because they are very much happening to me. And I used to say, oh no, that you have to be gifted, or you have to
Yeah.
be rich, or
Yeah.
oh, you have
Well,
to
a lot of
know
self-doubt
somebody.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, plus
Mhm.
I was told I was a mistake at 7, so it all adds up,
It all adds up.
but it's our responsibility to remove all those addings and filter them out of our existence, because they were experienced. It's not something you can change, but you can definitely
You
rewrite
can
it.
change it. So if you have to leave with telling people, what is one thing that someone they listen to this and thinking it's great, she's so accomplished. I can't do what she does. It seems so easy for her. What would you leave with folks around? What is the one next step that they could take if they are swimming in self-doubt or, not resilient, they're getting knocked down with this idea? What is the one next thing they can do or to help
Okay,
them
so
build?
self-doubt doesn't go away because you learn all these
I
tools.
like that. Yeah.
Okay, and one of the things I'm experiencing presently, I haven't been able to work out since February because of
Mm,
a pinched nerve. And
right.
that working out was like, oh yeah, I feel good. My body, my body, my body. And then it's like, no. But my shift, my change in that little computer chip said, you're not gonna go back down to the way you came.
Mm,
So just because you feel like I'm not sure, that's okay.
mm-hmm,
You're already, but question yourself why you're not sure.
mm-hmm,
Don't apply what you've heard from other people as being your story.
mm,
Your story is how you composed it in your heart and your mind. And in when you get your mind out of the I've been trashed, I've been wronged, I don't know the right things. No. When you dismiss all that, then your heart's going, I got something I can do. I just don't know who to do, how to do, or where to do, but I'm going to find it. And so you have to be your self motivator. You have to inspire yourself. And
yeah.
when you inspire yourself and you see that great big obstacle that you thought you couldn't, and you go crossing the threshold and you look back and you say, wow, that's just a taste of what can happen the rest of your life. Because whenever you learn that crossing over, or that adaptation, or that bouncing back, or all that resilience,
Yeah.
then but if you don't know how to do that, yes, you're going to
Yes.
self-doubt. You're going to
Right.
put yourself in that spot that you've always been. But
Mm,
that's your comfort zone, whether you think it's comfortable or not. It's comfortable because that's what you're used to, but it's
right.
not really a comfort zone. It's
Mm,
not. You just don't want to face whatever else is out there that could possibly attack you. And
mhm,
that's what most people just, okay, well,
yeah.
it's all good. No, take all those walls out and start facing them. Be brave, be bold, be daring, and empower yourself with the right tools. And I promise you, you will listen to this, and one day you're going to remember you heard this and you're going to believe
Wow. Spoken like a motivational speaker on stage with tens of thousands, but I think it's so important. What I took away from you that I want everyone to hear is that self-doubt never goes away, but you can shift it. This is the good news. Everyone has a primitive brain. Everyone has self-doubt. But the ones who make it are the ones who say, you know what? I'm going to rise above that and begin to think about the many options and the ways that I have and just take one step at a time. Do one thing at a time.
it. That's
So
it.
I hope that people are encouraged. Hearing Martie is encouraging me. It's giving me an injection of hope again. And she's such a great mentor to me. I see her and she is just on fire, which is some of the fire that I need to help me. But we're all on a different path. And so never compare yourself with with another person is. Compare yourself with yourself. How was I last week? Do I want to be better this week? Compare yourself with yourself, and then not in a negative way, but in a curious way to say, you know what, I'm going to do one thing this week to help me to get to that next step. And that's it. That's it. One step at a time. And
Baby
so
steps, baby steps.
baby steps. So be encouraged. Hope this injected some hope in you as it did with me, and stay strong. You've got this.
Thank you for everybody for listening, and join us. Join Jen. She's a wonderful coach, and she'll help you with your finances. I'll help you with trying to dig out all that mess out of your head. And together we want to help other people.
That's
That's
right.
what we do is encourage
Legacy.
you to think differently.
Think differently.
And it's not a threat to think differently. On the contrary, it's something we all need to do. We
That's
all
right.
need to change what we've already thought was the truth, because the truth is very much different than what we've actually heard.
Amen. Amen.
God
Amen.
bless
I
you.
love it. Thanks, Marty.